welcome to 4 Minutes Closer to God. My name is Doug. Last time we talked about Satan's desire to kill humanity because he hates humanity and their esteem in God's plan, and that Jesus came to save humanity and the celestial beings are not savable in that way. And so Satan is angry. He wants to take it out on humans because he hates God also and is trying to delete God's beloved humanity in a way that will foil God's plan for us. But he will fail. So how does Satan kill humanity? Wars, genocide, massacres, leading leaders to go into battle against each other. Humans are slaughtered right and left because of Satan's deception. So, Satan is a deceiver. What does it mean to deceive? Dictionary definition: to deceive means to cause someone to believe something that is not true, often by misleading them or giving a false impression. It can involve tricking or fooling someone for personal gain or advantage. So what would Satan's personal gain or advantage be? That he might assume the throne of God and become God himself. But that's a failed hope. Deception. What is the dictionary definition of deception? Is the act of convincing one or many recipients of untrue information. The person creating the deception knows it to be false, while the receiver of the information does not. Gaslighting is a current term for that sort of thing, deception. So it started because Satan is the liar and the father of lies. We get that in John 8:44. Jesus is talking to Pharisees. You belong to your father, the devil. You want to carry out his desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, refusing to uphold the truth because there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language because he is a liar and father of lies. So how did he use that on Adam and Eve? Well, the first story there, serpent deceives Eve and Adam with her, and he calls to them in order to question God's command, and he suggests that disobedience against God's command not to eat of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that disobedience would lead to enlightenment rather than death. Satan deceived them into trying to become little gods on their own instead of the way God Almighty had planned. So we get Genesis 27. Jacob deceives his father Isaac to receive the blessing meant for Esau. Well, turnabout's fair play. Laban, Jacob's uncle, in Genesis 29, tricks him into marrying Leah instead of Rachel, the one he had worked 7 years for. Then we get in Matthew 24:24, Jesus warns that false Christs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders that would deceive even the elect, if that were possible. So Jesus is talking about the false prophets and others. John 10:10 talks about the thief who comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Well, often people will point to Satan as the thief who's coming to steal, kill, and destroy, but the context is false prophets and false teachers. So Jesus says he is the one who is coming to give life, and that we may have life in all its fullness by way of his being the good shepherd. We have in other places Ananias and Sapphira, Acts 5. They talk about giving money to the church and a communal kind of offering, but they deceived the church and the apostles by lying about how much proceeds were coming from the sale of their property. And God immediately judge them for this, nipping that sort of falsehood in the bud by taking Ananias and Sapphira out, essentially. So we know Satan is the great dragon who deceives the whole world. Revelation 12:9. Deception is this wide-ranging tool of the enemy to lead people away from the truth of God. He deceives us in large and small ways, and nowadays we see it in news and politics and just dealings with one another that the truth is not there. We don't know what the whole truth is. So, 1 Corinthians 15 says, don't be deceived. Evil companions corrupt good morals. Don't hang out with bad people, even though they're fun. Galatians 6:7, don't be deceived. God is not mocked. For what a man sows, that he will also reap. Ephesians 5:6, let no one deceive you with empty words, for because of these things the wrath of God comes on the children of disobedience. In a manner of speaking, who was the first child of disobedience? Satan, taking his fall and bringing a third of the angels with him. But guess who wins? The champion will win, and Satan will be a defeated foe.